Hello, Timmy Nafso here, Executive Vice President of FortisPay. We received an article for Payments.com that was actually explaining how Visa is now working with several manufacturers of terminals to start focusing on biometrics. And biometrics actually, for those of you that are not totally familiar, a lot of you just believe it may be the thumbprint on your Apple phone or on your Samsung phone, but it has anything to do with whether it's retina or facial recognition or whatever that may be to move this payment transaction along is really the idea here. How do we get away from PIN, right? Somebody having to remember their 4-digit PIN or somebody having to sign their name, which technically is never matching actually what their signature really looks like. So what value is that? But what we do know is, the cell phone companies like Apple and Samsung have really pushed biometrics in their devices to unlock your phones, to make payments online, so on and so forth. And that consumer behavior has actually translated into the merchant processing space from an acceptance perspective, and Visa is really leading that charge. So although Visa has really cited that they're working with several manufacturers to get this done, but in addition to that, they actually are testing with a couple of banks the idea behind a card that has a biometric thumbprint on it. I'm really curious to see how something like that would work when we really are looking to go to a cardless society. From my personal perspective, I think that, and amongst my colleagues, we actually talk about, well, kind of the cardless society that we would live in would actually have some type of trigger from the register that would go to your phone. Your approval would be some type of biometric, and that essentially allows the payment to go through. That technology would actually help in both the card present environment, but also where there is the most suffering as business owners across the world, which is the card not present environment, right? Business owners are very, very vulnerable to the card not present environment today, where they don't actually know who's on the other end. So how do we further secure those transactions is the question for business owners so they're not at risk of chargeback. Remember, chip and PIN, EMV, or biometrics as they're talking today would actually really help in the face-to-face environment. EMV, chip and PIN has shifted the fraud away from us as business owners and shifted the liability to the cardholder's bank or the issuing bank. But where we really need the lifeline is when we are in the online environment. There's still no protection for us there. So we're really curious to see what this leads to. Our expectation, of course, is that it will lead to some type of biometric that involves the faceless transaction. Really cool stuff. Kudos to Visa, kudos to Payments.com for putting this beautiful article out. Thanks again for listening.